It is that time again. We have stuff to talk about. Although the only thing that's odd, I don't think I'll be able to title this video so about X, Y, and Z. In case you guys haven't caught on at this point, because people always say,
you tell you there's a lot like this.
So about whatever is basically my series on the channel where I just take whatever is happening in the world, usually in the gaming sphere, in the Dragon Ball gaming sphere specifically, and I just gotta talk about it, give you my own thoughts about whatever's happening. You know, I've done so about Dragon Ball Legends, so about the anniversary, so about Dokkan, so about everything. And today specifically, we're going to be talking about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Right, why? Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is so like weeks ago. What is there else something new to talk about?
Well, there's nothing really new yet outside of the fact that it has been confirmed, in case you guys have been under a rock, it has been confirmed that there will be multiple playable characters. We know you'll be able to play as Goku, as Gohan, as Vegeta, Piccolo, and then I think Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha are just going to be support, which I mean, who wants to actually play as them anyways? Shout out to the 4 fans of Yamcha, Krillin, and Piccolo, or not Piccolo, Tien, that'll be all like, I want to play as them! Well, it's Goku's story. Anyways, so the reason I'm making this video is 3 weeks ago, I know I'm very late on making this video, 3 weeks ago, I finally got a chance to actually sit down, or I guess in my case, stand, because it was at San Diego Comic-Con. I had a chance to actually play Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and now drum rolls! Rhyme! What did you think about it? I've heard so many mixed things. I don't know if I'm sold on the game or not yet. It looks beautiful, but I don't want to fall into like basically the false hype. Tell me about it! And to answer that question is, I liked it. I actually had a decent amount of fun. Now, right off the bat, let me just kind of go down, I guess, my my thought process as I was playing the game. It's not Xenoverse. It is not Xenoverse at all. From what it looked like to you guys, it's easy to look at it and be like, oh, it's an arena fighter. It's going to be Xenoverse. It's not Xenoverse at all. From how the combat system works. First of all, let's talk about the movement. The first thing I noticed when I played the game that I wasn't a big fan of was the controls. However, I don't want to critique the controls because controls in every single game, the first time you play, are going to be weird. And once you sit down and play it for like an hour or so, you get used to it, and then you don't even notice. So the controls, even though it's kind of weird, I think the one that stood out to me the most is when I was flying. When you're dashing, you do like R1 to fly upwards and then R2 to fly downwards. And it was just kind of weird because like I'm so used to pressing how it is in like Xenoverse, for example, and that threw me off. But I'm not going to critique the controls just due to the fact that controls from games will always vary. And as long as you can sit down and just kind of like get used to the controls, it's not that big of a deal. As far as combat, once you go into actual combat, the way it worked is, for me, the demo that I played, either you fly to Raditz and you fight them in the demo, or as you're flying around, you have like random boss that will like fly into you, and it's kind of like Pokemon where they fly into you and then they go into like a battle phase basically. Once you're in the battle phase, initially when I saw the trailer, it looked like it was going to be like a key phase and a strike phase similar to Nobuo Takaichi, but that's not the case at all. As you go close and away from the enemy, you can use key attacks and stuff like that, but all the combat is based around one button. So when I said it's not like Xenoverse, while it looks like Xenoverse because it's basically a giant 3D arena fighter, it's not. It's more of a Naruto, that makes sense, because you basically just play off of the circle button, or I guess in my case the B button, well not B button, whatever the Xbox button equivalent is. I'm looking for an Xbox controller around me, but it was if the button on the right side for all the different attacks, and then if you do, I believe it was R1, or I guess right bumper, you're able to pull up your different super attacks. We have stuff like Kamehameha, Meteor Smash, stuff like that. Your typical super attacks that you see in Dragon Ball games. And as you're fighting, you can do stuff like, you know, melee, or I guess circle, and then go into super attack, into Kamehameha. You have bursts and stuff like that. It's pretty simple. It's very, very dumbed down, but again, it's meant to be an RPG, an action RPG at that. So initially, I mentioned when this game was first announced that it reminds me a lot of Legacy of Goku, but on console. And after playing it, I can confidently say it's literally Legacy of Goku, but on console. If that makes sense, because obviously they play very, very differently. In Legacy of Goku, it's not like you can do combos. In Legacy of Goku, you would just press AAA, or I guess BBB, and then you just kind of punch, and then you can select your super attacks and just kind of blast them out there. Whereas this is like the next step. So if they took Legacy of Goku and put it on console, that's what Dragon Ball Z Kakarot was. By the way, it looks beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful in person. I know some of the screenshots that we've seen so far, or some of the gameplays and trailers, the models look kind of wonky, but once you're actually sitting down and playing it, or I guess in my case, standing up, it flows real smooth, if that makes sense. And something that I was a big fan of, the thing that really stood out to me the most, was the original music. The original music. Like, the second you hear that, you're just like, I'm inside Dragon Ball. I'm inside Dragon Ball, and this is amazing. So So the music was what stood out to me the most. And I mean, you guys have seen the trailers. That music was not just for the trailers. Looks like they're actually using the OG music in the actual game, which is really dope to me. Now, how is everything else? So one thing that I was a big fan of is how fluid it felt. Like I said, when you first play it, it feels kind of wonky, but it felt very fluid. You're able to do like step vanish and stuff like that. You can kind of dash around. The CPU fights initially felt kind of like, I want to say, it was kind of lackluster, but again, it's the beginning of the game, and the best way to compare it is remember the first time you play Legacy Goku and you're sitting there fighting against like random goons, T-Rexes and stuff like that. Similar to that, it's kind of awkward at first, but as you go into like the fights, like for example, when you experience the fight against Raditz in the demo that I played, it gets kind of like to the next level. It's like a step above than your basic CPUs. And I was not having too much fun facing off against the robots. To me, what happened was, as I was fighting, I was like, I feel like as I fight these robots, I'm just gonna get tired of this. But the second I got into a fight with Raditz, I'm like, okay, this is actually dope. This is actually really dope. And then you're able to do stuff like the heavy hits, linking into stuff like Kamehameha, and the super attacks, and then you go into the burst attacks, and then also like just being able to go all out. It feels like you're living the Dragon Ball adventure from an RPG perspective, which I guess is what they're going for. They nailed it. Now, obviously, this is just off of just a 10-minute demo that I played multiple times. I think I played about 4 or 5 times over and over and over again. Just kind of like, I mean, the first time you play any game, it's dope. Then you pop it the second time, you're like, okay, now I see what I do and don't like. And then the third time, you're like, okay. The third time you play, you're like, okay, I know what I like and what I don't like. But I played a bunch of times, and I gotta say, every single time I sat down there to play it, I was like, okay, I'm having a lot of fun with this. But there's one thing that stood out to me the most. After playing the demo 5 times, and I don't know if this is just because I got tired of fighting Raditz, I can see myself only playing this game once. Like, I don't see any reason to want to go back through it and play it all over again. Maybe like, let's say maybe I beat it the first week it comes out. Maybe I might be in the mood to play it again maybe a couple months down the line. But like, this is one of those games where, unlike Xenoverse, where you can just kind of hop into fights against your friends and people online, or Fighters, same situation where you fight against your friends and people online, this is a one-player experience. It's one of those, it's an adventure game that you'll probably only play once, and after that, you don't really have much of an incentive to play. Now, I don't know if they're going to have any kind of DLC around it. I feel like they're going to, because in 2019, there's a DLC for everything. And I can see them doing stuff like maybe bringing like bosses from like movies, for example, like a Broly DLC or a Janemba DLC or stuff like that. Because let's be real, DLC is inevitable in 2019. There's going to be some form of DLC. And maybe I might want to come back and play through those missions. But after I do that, that's really all I want to do. So in other words, I don't see much of a longevity in the game outside of just, unless you want to play the story, of course. Which I know right now is kind of in a weird spot because the last couple of Dragon Ball games we've gotten have been in the original story with Xenoverse introducing time travel, and well, not introducing time travel, but extending on time travel. Fighters gave us basically Xenoverse but with clones. I'm not a big fan of the Fighter story. I like Android 21, but I didn't like the story in that game. But to be fair, Fighters was supposed to be an actual fighting game, a traditional fighting game with Dragon Ball characters. So what they delivered in their game, I think they nailed. But in this game, I feel like, me personally, I know I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna play it through one time, and then that's it. I'll probably never play the game ever again, unless they figure out a way to do some kind of co-op or multiplayer down the line, which they already said they're not going to. And again, it's understandable. It's a single-player experience, which is going through the Goku story. Now, as of right now, we still don't know if it's going to go beyond the Frieza arc, but again, I have a really strong speculation that it's going to go way beyond that, because it's the Goku story. You can't promote it as the story of Goku and then stop at Frieza. It's gonna go beyond that. They gotta do Buu, they gotta do Cell and stuff like that. And now that we have confirmation that you can play as Piccolo, Gohan, Vegeta, it's gonna go beyond. I mean, especially if you can play as Gohan, you definitely gotta go into the Cell arc and face off against Cell and stuff like that. And then even beyond when we go into the Buu stuff. So we'll see about that once we actually get down to that point. But overall, though, I gotta say I was highly impressed. And to give you kind of like my standing with the game prior to that, I was kind of let down at first because the initial trailer when it was revealed, it was beautiful. I mean, you guys remember my infamous reaction with C-Reaction? We were all like freaking out. After that initial release and then more gameplay came out, it was kind of like, this doesn't seem like it's gonna quite hit as well as like the past games did. And on top of that, then my homie Afro Senju said he played it at, I believe, either Anime Expo or E3, I don't remember which. And he was kind of let down on it at first, and that kind of took me away. But once I actually got my hands on it and played it, and then I'm like, okay, you know what? I can get behind this. And again, the beautiful part about Dragon Ball games is every year when they do a new Dragon Ball game, wow, English is hard. They actually always do a different experience, which like anybody in the Dragon Ball realm can enjoy. So like, I mean, we got the hardcore fighting game fans who got fighters, we had the casuals who got Xenoverse, and now we got the RPG fans who like single player games with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. So yeah, overall though, I feel like most of you guys will enjoy it. To those who are seeking out something hardcore like fighters, or even like taking a couple step backs and more hardcore casual stuff like Xenoverse, you're not gonna get that. But if you are looking for like an RPG experience with Dragon Ball characters, especially the Goku story in Z, this game's for you. This game is absolutely for you. So yeah, like I said, I was kind of like, yeah. I mean, first I was like this, and I fell down like here, and then I was kind of like hovering down here, and after playing it, I'm like over here. So I mean, end of the day, the only opinion that ever really matters is your own. So if you get a chance to play it, whether it be at a convention or if they end up releasing a demo for it, which I would not be surprised if they actually do because it's such a different kind of game, you can kind of see for yourself what you think about it. But yeah, overall though, like I said, I'm looking forward to more news and I guess updates about the game. If I get a chance to play it again at some point in the near future, and then if I can perhaps even capture it, I'll definitely upload gameplay for it and give you more about that. But overall though, like I said, I was impressed. I was more impressed than I thought I was going to be with this game, and I'm very excited to play it. So with that said, I'm going to end it off with right now by asking you, well, first of all, give me your own thoughts based on my opinion, and two, if there's any question you want answered, what is like the biggest question on your mind in regards to the game, let me know in the comment section below, and if it's something that I can answer based on my experience playing the game, then I can try to answer that. But other than that, most of the stuff we won't know. We don't know what's planned in the future or how far it's actually going to go, if there's going to be any sequels, none of that stuff, but from what we know, and from my own experience playing the demo, I can at least try to answer with that, if that makes sense. So yeah, so let me know your thoughts down below and everything as I discussed, and we'll see, I guess, where the community stands with the game. And yeah, but other than that, that's everything. So yeah, wow. This video ended up being a whole lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a quick 5-minute video, but yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. My name is Rhymestyle. Let me know your thoughts. If you're hyped for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next video tomorrow. Peace.